Alright, hello everybody, welcome to First Attack. It feels like it's been forever since I've done this, man. We haven't done this in a while, like officially. We've been doing a bunch of Injustice episodes and Smash Brothers episodes and such like that. But here we are, back again. And the sad thing is, I had been so used to doing those specialty shows that I haven't really had anything prepared for today. So unfortunately, I don't really have like any great lessons for you guys, but the thing about it is I haven't done an execution corner or an Ask jchensor in a while. So what I'm going to end up doing today is an execution corner, and you know, if I finish a bunch of stuff and I still have some time, I'm going to go ahead and do answer some Ask jchensor questions. So these button configs don't seem right here. So so today I'm going to be starting with some. So what I'm going to end up doing. So I've done a lot of Street Fighter 4 stuff. I've even done some Persona stuff. But one of the ones that I've actually been kind of avoiding for a while is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I haven't done a lot of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 execution corners, and it's not that I have trouble doing a lot of the stuff. It's just because it was always the most complicated. So whenever I wanted to do execution corner stuff, I was like, okay, I can squeeze in the most Street Fighter stuff here. I can do all this stuff, and I see one Marvel question. I'm like, wow, that's like a whole episode by itself. So I am going to just go ahead and run with Marvel today. So let's see if we can do this here. What I'm going to do is bring up the game screen now. Here we go. So again, I haven't done this in a while. We haven't had a chance to do this. So yeah, Felicia Morgan Doom is absolutely my team, Mr. Pepper. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to answer some specific questions that I've gotten from people. For example here, one of the main questions I have here, this one is from Anil. He basically said, if he asked me if I could cover Magneto's hypergrav loops in the next execution corner. He says his execution is fairly good, like he's done all of the SSF4 trials and finished all of the UMvC3 missions except for Jill's last one, which I can totally understand. But he says that he cannot figure this one out. So he cannot do hypergrav loops. Now, I have tried hypergrav loops before in vanilla, so I kind of know one of the main secrets to doing this. But let's just talk about the hypergrav loops without pretending like I haven't done this before. So, and this is going to be disastrous too, because I said that I've done this before, and now I'm going to fail miserably repeatedly. But yeah, so some people are having trouble with hypergrav loops. So I mean, a lot of people in the chat right now are saying like, oh, what is this, like 2011 or whatever like that, But I mean, honestly, a lot of the people, this is the trickiest thing about fighting games. This is what makes learning execution in fighting games hard. There's a lot of things that are going to seem super easy to you, but then all of a sudden, like, you try to show someone else how to do something like low forward fireball, and it's just like, it's impossible for them. So it's really hard, and a lot of the times there's little tricky things about these combos that aren't intuitive, that may just seem supernatural to you. But, well, not seem supernatural, but seem very natural to you. But to a lot of other people, it's very, very confusing. So, I haven't even tried the impact palm loops yet, so I haven't apparently had a chance to do that. So, for you guys wondering what the hypergrav loop is, I mean, obviously everybody has seen this by now, where you fierce on the way, you launch them, and after you launch them, you super jump fierce on the way up. After you fierce them on the way up, you instantly air dash and fierce on the way down. And then after you catch them with the fierce on the way down, you do standing fierce and the hypergrav, and you get the loop going that way, right? So for example, so intuitively, let's say I'm just going to do launch them. So by default, what you're going to want to try to do is do launch, fierce, air dash down, fierce, right? Now, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with this combo, and if you haven't seen a lot of people do it, it's going to be really confusing, because a lot of times when you try to do air dash combos, as soon as the button connects, you air dash right away, right? That's what you tend to do when you try to do an air dash combo. So you can go, let's say launch air dash and then dash forward, and you hit the air dash as soon as the move that you want to cancel into an air dash connects. In this situation here, however, if I do that, you're going to see what happens here. My fierce misses, right? Because what I'm doing is I'm air dashing diagonally down as soon as my fierce hits. And when I hit fierce, so I'm going to try to hit fierce as fast as I can. So I'm going to launch fierce, air dash down, fierce. Air dash down, fierce. And I'm not connecting against him at all. This is not hitting him. So the question now comes down to how are you going to make this thing work? Now, there's a couple of options. There could be just like try to hit fierce as fast as you can, but that's just not going to connect. It just doesn't connect, right? It's not going to happen no matter how fast you do it. So just understand right now that I'm doing fierce as fast as I can using a specific technique, and it's not hitting. So now the question really comes down to then how do people make this loop work? And really, if you've watched it enough, you'll notice that every time they super jump fierce, there's this weird delay after they hit him with the fierce when they super jump. They wait a little bit. And the whole purpose of this is you can see after I launch him and hit him with fierce, Virgil stays down, but Magneto keeps going up, right? So if I launch him and hit fierce, I keep going up. So the whole key is, since if I air dash right away, I can't hit him with this. So now the trick, what I'm going to do is, you can air dash cancel your fierce anytime after it hits. This is one of the big key things about Marvel. I can cancel right away, or I can hit, wait, and cancel later. In fact, I can even cancel so late that I will miss Virgil there, that I won't even combo him, right? Or I can cancel it right away. So one of the tricks to doing the hypergrav loop is to actually wait a little bit before you cancel your fierce into an air dash. So you want to jump, you want to air dash fierce as fast as you can. This is a key component to the hypergrav loop, right? So you got to go boom like this as fast as you can. So launch fierce. Oops, too fast. Launch fierce. And a lot of people do this jumping in different directions. Oftentimes you'll see people do it while jumping backwards. You want to do it jumping diagonally, because if you actually jump straight up, watch really carefully that when I hit Virgil, I'm hitting him kind of in the middle, but when I super jump diagonally, I'm hitting him at the feet a little bit more. And the reason for this is because when you jump diagonal, most of your speed is kind of going this way, and when you super jump straight up, your speed is going this way. You actually end up a little higher. You can do it this way if you learn how to do it, super jump straight up, but I'm trying to teach it the most common way, which I see is most people super jumping backwards. So what you want to do here is wait just a little bit before you air dash. See, you can see I'm not canceling it right away. Again, if I cancel it right away, I'm not going to be able to hit with this. So let's see, like that, right? So what I'm going to do is fierce wait like just a tiny bit before I air dash down with fierce like this. So like that. So there you go. So let's see if I can do that again. Right. Now I've got one loop of the hypergrav loop down. Okay, so I'm going to be able to launch fierce, wait, hit fierce, and then standing fierce hypergrav. So standing fierce hypergrav, that's the intuitive part. Do it as fast as you can after you land. So launch fierce, wait, air dash down, fierce, and then hypergrav loop. Now here's where hypergrav loop is starting to get super tricky. Because just because you can do it this one time doesn't mean you can keep doing it. See, the real trick to this loop here is the fact that you're avoiding this launcher repeatedly over and over and over again. The reason why you want to avoid launching over and over and over again, so watch, I'll show you. This is actually going to be the easiest way to do it if you actually launch it over and over again, but what you'll find out is it's not actually going to work. Well, it'll work for very few reps. And the reason for that is the launcher causes greater hit stun deterioration. The reason why the hypergrav loop is so important, is such a vital sequence, is because it causes the least amount of hit stun deterioration. Launcher adds way more to the hit stun deterioration cycle than just fierces. Jumping fierce doesn't do much. Hypergrav does not do much to hit stun deterioration. It adds to it, but very, very slightly. So if you actually do this combo here, see right there, like I just did it with the same timing. They flipped out of it already. So that combo is not going to work. So the whole goal then is to do, and then try to super jump, and then fearsome on the way up, and then air dash and fearsome on the way down again. So just repeat that sequence over and over and over again, right? So, but here's some problems here if you start looking at this, right? I'm going to do this, and when I jump back, Virgil's not really following me very well. And when I jump back and hit fierce, I'm not hitting him. He's not going anywhere, which is really strange, right? So let's see this. Let's try this one more time. So I can't hit him, and he flips out of there right away. So really what happens is that the hypergrav does not keep them very long. And of course, when they're hypergrav, they actually chase you. They come to you when you hit them with the hypergrav. So that's an important key component to this combo here. So if I hypergrav from up here, whoops, let's hypergrav from up here, you'll see how when I catch him, he kind of springs up. You see how he kind of springs up at me like this? So one of the biggest keys to this combo is you got to get him to spring up to you, and you notice that he's not springing up. Now the reason for this is because you need to go into the air as soon as you can. So one of the biggest things about the hypergrav loop is you have to learn to super jump right as soon as you know it connects. Because as soon as hypergrav connects, Magneto's free to move. You see that? Bam! Magneto can move. So I'm hypergrabbing and holding straight back. As soon as the hypergrav connects, I can move backwards. So what you have to be able to do here is as soon as it connects, you want to be able to super jump back, right? Now what's going to happen is, actually, you know what? I've made a mistake here. You're not actually fiercing on the way up. You're not actually going to hit him fierce on the way up, but all this stuff still applies here. So what's going to happen here is you're going to launch him, and what you want to do is come down and fierce him like this. So what happens after the hypergrav is you come down and air dash down fierce again, and then go into fierce hypergrav. So watch, I'll show you again like this, and you come down and you fierce hypergrav here. Like this. But the problem is, most of the time when I do this, he's too low, right? So because he's too low, the hypergrav is not going to connect after the fierce. The only way fierce into hypergrav connects is if you hit him with the top of the fierce, the very top part of the fierce. So watch this. So if I do this, for example, and I jump backwards, sorry, I'm messing up here. Hypergrav is not connecting. You see that, right? So what you got to find out is when you do this, you got to super jump. You got to super jump to get Virgil as high up as possible. So let's try that again. Oops. But now what you're going to find out here when you super jump a lot of the times is he flips out of the hypergrav. So you can tell the hypergrav does not last very long after it connects. That's about as much time as you want. So what you're learning now is now you have to make sure you learn how to super jump as soon as the hypergrav hits. So you've got to start the super jump even before the hypergrav hits and be hitting up already once the hypergrav connects. And that is one of the things that's going to be key to learning that. So learn how to do that part. So right there, just do the beginning of the hypergrav loop if you're having trouble. Oops. And just learn to make sure that you super jump as soon as the hypergrav connects. And see there, I did it too fast, so I just did a regular jump. There it is right there. So I'm getting the super jump now, right? So now what you want to do here is, okay, now I've got the super jump timing down. So what I want to do is air dash diagonally down and hit fierce, right? Because that's what the hypergrav loop looks like. Oops, hang on a second. I'm not a Magneto player, so I do not have this combo in muscle memory, so I apologize. But that's one of the cool things about watching me do this, is that you kind of see how I learn it at the same time. Now you notice the hypergrav didn't connect, right? Why is this happening? Okay, I got it that time because I did it the right way. I meant to mess up again. Sorry, hang on a second. So let me try to replicate the mistake again. Sorry. Right there, it missed, right? So the way I'm actually air dashing diagonally down and hitting fierce is I'm double tapping fierce and medium at the same time. So I'm going like this, right there. Because basically what happens is normally when you hit the two buttons at the same time, he will do an air dash. But if I do it again, because the air dash is gone, he's going to come out with fierce. So my concept is that the fastest way that I am going to be able to do air dash fierce is to double tap these two buttons, right? So I'm going to do, whoops. And it works here, but when I try it there, it doesn't work. So I'm going to try again. Whoops, wrong hypergrav. You have to do light hypergrav, by the way. You have to do light hypergrav. It's the only one that connects fast enough. Let's do that again. And it misses again. So now here's the real question right now is why is it missing? Why is this not connecting? And the answer actually turns out to be because double tapping H and M like this is not the fastest way to get it out. Notice how low I am when I get the super jump and I come down. I'm pretty much on the ground when I'm hitting him with the fierce already. How can I actually do this faster? And this is where you have to start learning about the game mechanics, understanding ways to take advantage of the game. And this is what a lot of execution comes down to. Execution comes down to taking advantage of what you know about the game. So even if you see a combo on stream 70 gazillion times, like we've all seen this Magneto loop over and over and over again, the question really comes down to is, how come they can do it faster than me, right? What is the tech? And you know what? It's not that they're faster than you. It's that they have a technique that you aren't aware of. And the technique in this particular case is to plink it. Now remember, what I'm doing is I'm hitting fierce. I want to hit him with fierce on the way down. And I said any two buttons make you dash, right? So on the ground, if I hold back and forth, I can dash with any two of the attack buttons. So what it turns out is the way to do it as fast as possible is you learn to air dash with light and medium. Those are the two buttons you can do. And now because you're air dashing with those buttons, heavy is still free to be pushed. So if I wanted to air dash, for example, with medium and heavy, and I wanted to hit hit H on the way down, I actually have to let go of the button and push it again. The time it takes me to let go of the button and push it again is enough to slow you down. So the whole trick comes down to is learning to air dash with L and M, and then immediately plinking to heavy. If I hit them all at the same time, I'm going to air dash because it interprets three attacks at the same time as an air dash. I have to learn how to hit them just ever so slightly apart so that I end up air dashing and hitting fierce on the way down. And now, okay, so here's another problem. What I'm ending up doing now is I'm ending up actually plinking all three buttons just because from playing Street Fighter a lot, plinking all three buttons is something that seems natural to me when I try to do triple plinking. So make sure you're really plinking two buttons. The first button is a combination of L and M, and then the second one is H. And that is, if you notice, see, I'm still accidentally plinking it the wrong way. Now, if you notice, that actually lets me come out with fierce, and I'm pretty much landing on his head with the fierce. Whereas before, when I was doing it the other way, look at this. This is even more telling here. If I air dash at the lowest height possible, and I do the double tap HM, I can't even get it out in time. I can't even get the fierce out barely in time. But if I do the plinking method, you see, even from that same height, I can get it out in time. Oops, stop doing that. I can get it out in time and actually hit him. So this is going to be a key component to the combo. The reason why this is a key component is because after you launch him and do this, you want them to be as high up as possible. The only way to hit him as high up as possible is if you hit him as early as possible. Because without doing it as early as possible, you see how after the hypergrav lets them go, they start falling. If you let them fall too far, then you're not going to be high enough for Fierce Hypergrav to connect. See, Fierce Hypergrav Connect will not work when they're too low, only when you hit them at the top. So, if you can learn to... Now you see what happens when you plink it, right? So let me show you what happens if I don't plink it. Whoops. See how low he is? He's lower. You can see that Virgil is kind of at my face height. But if I actually learn, if I can learn to plink that air dash combo properly, you see how he's at the top of my head now. So because he's at the top of my head, I can get the Fierce 2 combo into hypergrav. And then it's just about learning how to just cycle this over and over and over again. And that part just comes down to muscle memory, right? So you just have to get used to doing this over and over again. See, right there, the reason why I dropped the second loop is because I was like, oh, I'm getting the second hypergrav to connect, and I wasn't thinking about super jumping as soon as the hypergrav connects. So, I mean, this is the trickiest thing about this combo, is that you have to keep a lot of things in mind in order to get it to connect. You got to make sure you super jump right away. You got to make sure you plink the Fierce down, and then see, I keep doing the wrong plinking style. I keep doing the triple plink. And I'm not sure how many times you can do this. I actually don't know what the maximum is. But there you go. There you go. So I was getting the hypergrav loop like that. And it really comes down to just those few little key things, key techniques, right? And one tricky thing too, I will tell you, the first time you launch them up, even if you Fierce them and then come down on as fast as you can, and then Fierce, you notice how that Fierce missed. I actually did a Fierce into hypergrav. Interestingly enough, the very first time you do the loop, wait a little bit to get the Fierce, because you actually hit him really high up in the air, and you might actually hit him so high up that the Fierce doesn't hit properly. So the very first time you can actually delay that first landing Fierce just a little bit. I'm actually waiting after I land to get that. So and now for me, the reason why I'm messing up is really just because I keep triple plinking. And if you're wondering what I mean by triple plinking, I'm hitting the 3 buttons in a row like this, which I guess should be double plinking, not triple plinking now that I think about it, because I'm plinking once and then plinking again. So boom, that's a triple plink. And so because I'm triple plinking, the L and the M is not counting as an air dash. I have to make sure I only do LM and then plink the H. This is not a problem you may run into. This is a problem that's just me right now, just because I'm so used to... See, I did it again, just by muscle memory. It's just a problem that I have in general, because I'm so used to Street Fighter plinking styles. You don't ever have to do something like this in Street Fighter. Also, another thing about this combo as well is that you're gonna want to make sure you let Magneto super jump to a decent height on the second through end loops, because if you don't let him super jump to a decent enough height, I'll stop doing that, James. If you don't let him get to a high enough height, Virgil actually won't fly high enough to get this to connect. You actually have to make sure Virgil flies high enough. But at the same time, you don't want to super jump so high that when you come down, that he flips out of the hypergrav loop too fast. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind about this combo, and this is what makes it so tricky. Ugh. And now I can't do it because I keep doing the wrong plinking style. Right there. So there you go, 26 hits right there. So there you go. There's just a few things that you got to learn, and the beautiful thing about this combo though is that because it's just one sequence repeated over and over again, it really becomes a rhythm combo, and you really start learning how to do this very easily once you do it enough times. Once you do it a few reps, it becomes very easy. Now, I'm gonna go into something else here. I'm gonna talk about a little thing. Actually, let me get back to this. I'm gonna take a break real quick, and I'm gonna come back to this hypergrav loop, and I'm gonna talk about some more stuff, ways that make it a little bit easier for yourself potentially. So I'm gonna take a break and be right back. Alright everybody, welcome back to First Attack. I'm James Chen, and I'm doing an Execution Corner episode today, concentrating mostly on Marvel. And I've been starting by teaching people how to do the hypergrav loops. Again, one of the most important facets of this. Probably the main key thing that got me to learn how to do this combo was learning how to do the plink dash into H, which is basically hitting L and M at the same time and immediately plinking into M. Now remember, you can't do it too fast, because if you do, it counts as all three buttons at the same time, so that it'll just air dash. You can't do it too slow, because then the combo won't work. So you really have to learn to do it as fast as you can without getting just an air dash. And of course I'm doing the wrong plink style again. There you go. And actually, it looks like if I do it a little too fast, the fierce actually won't come out. So there is still a little bit of space you got to put in between the two buttons. And once you get the hypergrav loop going, it starts to feel a little natural. But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. We are all using TE stakes. We're all using Xbox 360 controllers, right? And it's tournament legal in every game to map buttons. If you really want to be able to do the hypergrav loop a little bit easier, mapping buttons actually does help. And what I would suggest you do for hypergrav loops specifically, you have all these different combinations of stuff right here. So for example, I have all three buttons at the same time. I have just the two weak buttons. I have weak plus heavy, and I have medium plus heavy. In this case, weak plus medium is going to be very useful, because you remember what I'm already doing is essentially that. I'm trying to plink dash L plus M into H. And my fingers get messed up a lot of the time, so I do this triple plink thing by accident, right? But see, now if I have the buttons mapped here, I'm probably going to be able to get this almost every... Whoa, I'm doing it backwards. I can get it almost every time, because now I'm just plinking two buttons like I normally would know how to do. Right? And so, oh, there is a too fast. So there is a little bit of a too fast that you can get air dash into nothing. So you want to do it a little slower. But now if you look, I'm getting it super consistently here. Right? So if I do that, oops, it's going to be much easier for me to do, because I'm going to be super consistent with the pretty much the hardest part in the combo, which is the air dash fierce, into making sure, because the speed of it is the key, because if you don't do it fast enough, he's just not going to be high enough in the air for the hypergrav to connect. So you really got to learn. I'm doing it too fast. Wow. There we go. So once I've learned the timing of that, so now you can do it a lot easier. And it's, like I said, it's this tournament legal stuff. As long as it's assignable, you're allowed to do it. And so I'm actually plinking from right to left. Yes, exactly. Suna, I'm actually plinking from right to left, because what I'm doing is I'm assigning LM to this button right here. And this button right here is just H right here. So I'm actually plinking this way. So this will actually make it easier. The reason why I talk about this technique is because this technique is crucial for pad players. Not having the ability to plink the L and M into H easily on the face of an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation controller is really frustrating. And so what you'll probably end up doing is if you're a Magneto player, you're going to want to assign one of the buttons to L plus M, so that you can do hypergrav loops easier. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is what Fnatic does. I'd have to ask him to be absolutely sure. Sorry, I'm having trouble doing this and talking at the same time. Oh, I'm doing this too fast. So I'm pretty sure that's what Fnatic does. He has one of the buttons. Not only does that help you there, but there's the cheating plink dashing. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I saw Filipino Champ and Shady K talk about it. Was it? No, it was Filipino Champ and who was it that he was talking to about this? It was shoot. God, just somebody help me. Shoot, I keep wanting to say Mike Ross. It's not Mike Ross. Freaking A. It's really good UMvC3 player, one of the best in the West Coast. Why can't I remember that? Chris Schmidt, that's what it is. It's Chris Schmidt. Schmitty. So he came up with this. I don't know if he actually made it up or if other people have actually known this before. But there's a kind of a cheater way to plink dash here with these buttons here. If you assign that button to L plus M, if you plink the other direction, so what I'm doing is air dash H, right? But if you actually do H air dash, can you hear that? You can hear that. You can hear that. You can hear yeah, because you're actually canceling the beginning of a fierce into a dash. And for some unknown reason, that's just super easy to do when you have this mapped like that. So even when I'm flying, I can just like plink dash in every direction that I want. And remember guys, when you guys are telling me to look at the chat, when I see the chat, it's going to show up about 30 seconds later than from when I actually talk about it. So when I say it, it's going to take 30 seconds to get to you guys. You type it, it's going to take about 5 seconds to get to my computer. So that's why sometimes it takes me a while to respond to the stream chat. So any tips for holding charges on characters like Zero? That's just practice. You just got to learn how to just have the technique to do that. I'm not a Zero player, so I'm not 100% sure. There might be some techniques that I'm unaware of, but for all I know right now, it's just you just got to practice that one. Maybe I'll try to take some time to see if I can figure that one out in just a little bit. So, but so that's basically a good tutorial here for hypergrav loops. If there's anybody, does anybody have any questions about the hypergrav loop? That want any more clarifications on this or not? And if you see this, I'm actually plinking too fast when I have the L and M. That's really interesting and very frustrating. I didn't think that you could plink too fast. In fact, it's almost so frustrating to me that I think I might actually like the original way better. Yeah, I actually like it better without the double button, because for some reason plinking the L and M manually into H spaces my fingers apart slow enough that it actually turns out to be the perfect timing for this. So to each his own. To each his own. You know, you can learn to space out the 2-button plink method by using the keyboard, by using the assigned key, or you can do it the other way. So, like I said, that's the beautiful thing about doing the combos in games like this. I mean, I can give you all the hints that I can about this, but to be honest with you, there's really no one right answer. If you can figure out a way to do it, then you should do it the way that you know how to do best. But the main reason why I brought up the keyboard the key assigned key method is because this is crucial for people on pad, and so assigning it to LM is really useful. In fact, I think LMH will work as well. Oh no, it won't, because if I hold the 3 down, H doesn't work anymore. So you cannot assign it. So as long as I hold down the 3 attack buttons, H will not work. That's why you have to assign it to L plus M only, because now I can hold that button down and hit H and it'll come out. So if you assign it to all 3, what's going to happen is if you plink a lot of the times, now you have to consciously let go of the 3 buttons to get the H out in time. No, don't do that. Assign it to L plus M and that's it. And so now I can actually get this out here like this. Very important. Make sure you assign it just to that. Yeah, so there you go. There's hypergrav loop right there. Alright, so another question that was asked to me on the execution corner here. So let's see, which one was that one? That was there, right there. Another question that was asked to me was from a fellow Felicia user, which is why I have Felicia sitting here. He says that I seem to have trouble ending a combo with a super. The combo he does is low, medium, heavy launch, blah, 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 all this stuff here. Heavy sand splash into dancing flash, right? So he does this combo right here. And the problem is when I use sand splash and try canceling into dashing flash, I get kitty helper, right? So is he holding forward on the sand splash too long? What's the tip here? This happens to a lot of Felicia players, and it is one of the banes of my existence that this used to keep happening to me. I would sand splash, and then when I try to do... I mean, I can do it pretty consistently. I can do regular... I can do dancing flash pretty consistently. But there's just those times in the tournaments that it comes out as kitty helper instead, and you just want to kill yourself because it was like in the super key moment you really needed to win, and out comes the wrong thing. So something like... Jeez, I can't even... No, I'm getting the right one out right now, but you can actually get the wrong thing out a lot. And let me see if I can do the wrong one. There it is, right there. So what ends up happening is that comes out, your combo is now done, right? You've messed up your combo, so it's very annoying. And the reason why from that is because you have to sonic boom. This is a sonic boom motion right here. I have to charge back and then towards plus H to do the sand splash. Because I have to do towards plus H into fireball, let's take a look at what towards plus H into fireball looks like on the command down. So look at the bottom of the screen. If I do towards H into fireball, you can see that the first three codes right there are the uppercut motion. Uppercut motion gives you kitty helper. Fireball motion gives you dancing flash. So this is the problem right now, right? So this is one of the hardest things about it. So what you have to figure out is how am I going to prevent this from happening? There's so many different ways to actually have this happen here, and it's really, really kind of interesting. There's two different ways to do this. There's two different techniques that I have learned to combo into dancing flash that have helped me not get out the uppercut a lot. So some people are saying up forward. So what they do is make sure they go to up forward. So that's a third technique. This is something that I have preached a lot in Street Fighter 4 to do ultras. And the reason why is because what a lot of people end up tending to do is they tend to hit the buttons too early. And so because they hit the buttons too early, they're hitting the button when the game is thinking it's down forward. So you end up with the kitty helper. By waiting till you get to up forward, what you're doing is tricking your brain into not hitting it too early. But see, in this case, I did it perfectly. You saw it. I did sonic boom, and you can see in my code, I went to up forward, and I still came out with the kitty helper for some strange unknown reason. And I'm not sure why. Not sure why, but it happens every once in a while. It's very annoying. So the two techniques that I've learned myself to make sure this works is, one, if you notice something, if I do sand splash into kitty helper super as fast as I can, so it's actually happening right here, unfortunately. So, but if I do it as fast as I can, like that, so I just did it super fast. Oops, wrong thing. If I do it super fast, you notice, look at my commands. I did sonic boom, and then you see the code right there. It should have finished for the uppercut, right? But I get the towards, the down, and the down towards, and then the three buttons. But you notice that the kitty helper didn't actually come out when I do it super fast. But if I do it super fast with the fireball, it still comes out with this way. Well, in any case, this is the technique that I used to use, and I've abandoned it because this one is not particularly reliable either. So this is how I used to try to do it as fast as possible, and I would still end up with the problem that every once in a while I would come out with the wrong thing. So the second technique that I've learned here is that you can actually wait super long before you go for the dancing flash. I mean, you may think that you need to do it as soon as the dancing flash hits. It's actually not the case. What I've learned to do is let it hit a few times and you can still get it to connect. The reason why this works here is that you put enough distance in between the towards from the sand splash command and the fireball code for the dancing flash, that little space has let the window for the uppercut code to expire. By waiting long enough, you are not going to end up coming out with the uppercut, because the towards on the Sand Splash code now is no longer registering into the commands. So that is probably the best way to guarantee to make sure you don't come out with it. Of course, there is one danger that you do it too slow. That's still good enough. So you can see how much time you have, right? That's probably, yeah, okay, so there I did it too slow. There's a possibility of you doing it too slow so that the opponent drops out of the combo. But to be honest with you, it's pretty hard to have that happen. Just learn a good timing where you put enough space in there. Try to time it so you hit your 3 buttons about this time, the exact time that the third hit on the Sand Splash connects, or the third audible sound of it. So that's basically the best way. This is the most consistent way that I've learned to do it, is to do the Dancing Flash slow and ending it pretty late. Now, if you're trying to do Dancing Flash into level 3, you cannot do that. You have to do it as fast as possible. Nice thing about that, though, is that you have all the time, you don't have to worry about getting the wrong super out. So you just want to do it as soon as the first hit connects, right? So there you go. So that's to answer that question. And to go to the next question, and this one can probably take forever. This is an old question. So let's see here. So D here asks, this is a question from a long time ago, so I apologize. You've probably already learned it already, but I want to help you anyway on how to do this. The question is, sorry, I'm doing fun combos here. The question is, how do I do Doom TACs? And really, honestly, the hardest part about the Doom TACs is that you have to just memorize how to do it. And you got to memorize the sequence, and you got to practice it. But not only that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some tips here on how to do You want to teach plink dashing. You want to learn plink dashing. Okay, I'll teach plink dashing in just a bit, Mr. Masters. So don't worry about it. I'll get to that. The thing about Doom TACs is that there are so many factors to affecting the Doom TACs. One of the most disillusioning things about TACs, what I don't think a lot of people understand, is there is a lot of improvisation that occurs during a Doom TAC. Even if you're doing the same loop over and over and over again, a lot of the times you have to adjust your combo based on how high or low you see your opponent. That is a big factor of Doom TACs. Another thing about Doom TACs that's really kind of confusing is that, let's say I'm just practicing a Doom TAC and I want to practice the up TAC combo, right? So I'm going to sit here and do something like, something like this, a TAC combo, right? The problem with it is, if you want to practice the combo, like for example, I'm a Felicia user, right? I want to practice being able to do up TAC Doom combos. So here I'm doing this, right? Right, so I'm going to practice all that stuff. If I practice it exactly like I just did right now, I'm going to be wasting my time. I'm not going to be able to consistently do it right now. Because I don't care. So my normal Felicia B&B is this. Okay, this is my normal Felicia bread and butter combo here. Like that, right? That's where I usually lead in the TAC. The reason why practicing it like, oh, let me practice my TAC, whee, is not going to help me is because the setup is completely different. If I actually go up into the air and hit him 3 times like this, they end up at a different height. I'm launching him straight from the ground. So when I'm launching him straight from the ground, he's at a different height. All these factors here go into the Doom TAC. If you're just kind of goofing around and you're like, I'm going to practice the Doom TAC and I'm going to go into the up TAC and do all this stuff like this, and then try it later on in your combo and you're like, oh, I'm going to end with this here and I'm going to go for my Doom TAC, and all of a sudden you can't get it, it's because you're launching them at different heights, you're hitting them at different heights, and so what happens when you launch them upwards, they're at different heights. Now, a little caveat to that, down TACs do not have this problem. You can pretty much practice a down TAC from pretty much any height because they always bounce off the ground. They always end up at the same height, and your character coming in always comes in pretty much at the same height. So, so Macho Mexican is telling me that that's partially incorrect. I don't know if he's talking about the down TACs. But in any case, for the most part, that's what I've learned. So what happens is I will always... So instead of doing this whole stupid first part of my B&B to learn the combo here, I'm going to learn it from the easiest place to start, which is off of an air delta kick. Because that will put him at the same consistent height that I always want him to be at. So it's actually pretty easy at that point. And then the question is... Okay, I just wanted to do it. Up TAC twice and you will see a difference. Okay, yeah, obviously if you up TAC twice, you end up much higher because they keep going higher up, right? But my whole point is that if I up TAC from this height, that height right there is a completely different height than if I up TAC from here. So the reason why it's dangerous to practice your combo in an incorrect state is that you're going to learn it at different heights. And Doom's TACs are really crucial to height. So for example, side TAC is the perfect one to give an example for. Right? If I do this, I'm going to start my side TAC from here. Now watch what happens here. I'm going to do it like this. And you see how much further Doom had to drop in that situation? So I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to get the beam, but look how high I am. When I hit jab, I have this big old long distance to fall. And the only reason why that happened is because I did 3 attacks. But if I do 1 attack, Doom comes in much lower. And now when they bounce on the beam, look how low I was, right? So you can see how learning where you are doing your TAC is a huge difference for Doom. So if you're going to be sitting here practicing TACs, and I'm just going to do it like this really easily, you might not want to do it that way because what you've learned from launch immediate fierce into side TAC might be a different height than after air delta kick, low H, stand H into side TAC. My whole point is make sure you're practicing your Doom TACs from the exact height that you expect it to actually get in there. So Macho Mexican saying that if you up TAC twice, the second one doesn't send him that high. I don't know about that because if you see it, he goes high and then he goes higher. I mean, look how high I am. The second TAC is definitely knocking him up higher, unless you're talking about something else that I'm not sure what you're talking about too. So I don't know. You can explain it to me a little bit better. But if you look, I'm way up here, and I'm obviously higher up. So they are bouncing the same height every single time. So in any case, that's one of the things. A lot of times learning Doom TACs is going to be very frustrating because you're going to learn something that is actually not applicable to your combo if you're just trying to practice it quickly because you're tired of doing the setup over and over again. So if you want to do that, just make sure you do this. Try to shorten the combo as short as possible. I mean, I have this long old combo. Luckily for me, Felicia has this delta kick part that normalizes the entire height of the combo. If I didn't have that delta kick combo and I was doing, for example, launching them from high up like that and then doing a TAC, I'm going to have to do this whole beginning part of the combo to make sure I get the same height for the TAC every time. So that's one thing. Make sure that you set it up every single time. The other tricky thing that really comes out of Doom TAC combos, and I'm going to show you this right now, is that there's not very many ways to do it exact so that you end up with the same situation every single time. And in fact, I want you guys to watch Doom Infinite's when you see it in actual tournament play, you'll actually see a lot of Dooms adjusting the timing. One of the beautiful things about Doom is that the TAC involves a long sequence of M, and what happens is that whole sequence of time that you're sitting there doing M, you have the ability to adjust what height your opponent is at. So part of the thing about the Doom TAC combo is that the gun needs to hit every single hit possible. So there's a possibility that the opponent... Okay, it's not going to happen here because I messed up. But there's definitely a possibility that the gun is going to not hit every single time. You saw right there, right? The gun hit twice. The gun hit twice like that, you're boned. You're not actually going to be able to do the combo at all. Didn't hit every single hit. Not going to be able to get that combo going the way I have it. So there's also the situation where the opponent might be so low that the opponent might be so low that the gun doesn't even hit. You see right there. And the funny thing is, I did the exact same combo. If I write that combo down on paper, when Doom comes in, it would be air dash diagonally down, fly, air dash air dash H. I did the exact same combo, the exact same button sequence, yet one time, Magneto is too high, so my gun doesn't hit every single time. And another time, oops, I want to do side again. And another time I did it, I'm hitting Magneto so low that my gun doesn't hit. So what gives? The whole thing about this really comes down to is that the timing of Doom's air dash is super important. Not only is it it's super important because the speed at which you do it, if you do it as fast as humanly possible, I can do it so fast that you see Magneto's rising every little bit. Every time I do the sequence, Magneto goes higher and higher. Every loop, he ends up higher and higher. But I can actually time it and delay the M's just a little bit so that he actually drops lower and lower. And because I'm delaying the M timing so that he drops lower and lower, now my H is going to miss. So the question now is, how do I make sure that he's in the perfect height? How do I make sure that I get him at this height so that I can actually shoot him with the H? And this is the trickiest part of Doom TACs, especially this particular variant. I can go into it a little bit. I mean, the hardest thing is there's two variants of Doom TACs. This particular one I'm doing, very important. But even still, if I have a variant of the Doom TAC, if I have a variant of the Doom TAC that doesn't have the, that was too fast. If I have a variant of the Doom TAC that doesn't have that, let me see if I can get to it. Ugh. Man, the down TAC used to be the easiest one for me. Well, in any case, there are some variations of this TAC that doesn't involve the butter gun at all, that, you can do this. You still want to make sure that you maintain the height of the opponent very carefully. And really, the trickiest thing about this is that it comes down to learning how to time your M's properly. Every time you hit Magneto, you're judging the height of Magneto. This is basically what I'm trying to say. Every time I hit Magneto, so see how like when I started that he was so low? So I'm gonna do this again. So I'm gonna air dash fly an M. I messed up that combo because I did it so slow that when I hit Magneto, he's already below me because I took too long to fly and hit M. He's way below me right there, right? Thing about it, all hope is not lost. Remember I told you when I did it as fast as possible, he goes up. So I can actually do the timing of that sequence as fast as possible based on the fact that I hit him really low. So now I can make sure I do the sequence as fast as possible to bring him higher up, so now my gun will hit every hit. There are situations where I will hit him so high up that I will purposely do it slow to drop him back down. And then if you notice what happened was in the second loop, I delayed it so slow on the second loop that I knew I had to do the third faster to bring him back up. During that whole entire sequence, I noticed he was too high, I dropped him low, and then I brought him back up a little higher just so the butter gun would connect at the correct height. There's a lot of adjustment work here on this sequence, and if I have him at just the right height, you can actually, then you want to maintain that height. Right? So there you go. And that's one of the trickiest things about doing Doom TACs, is that you really got to learn how to do these kind of things. And then, for example, the Down TAC Infinite, the common starter of it, there's two different starters of it. The one that I commonly most see is launch and then go LLMM light beam towards H and then just do, for example, this kind of a sequence here. I find it's a little inconsistent. I actually like to do a delayed, and it's ironic that I got it on the other one, but I actually like to delay after I hit. They can't flip out. So what I usually do is I hit them, wait a little bit, then do LMM, so only do 3 buttons instead. The reason for this is on some characters, LLMM just doesn't seem to work for some reason, but more consistently just doing 3 hits gets it to work for me. Again, this is just going to be up to you. I've seen both ways. Neither way is particularly wrong over the other. So, I'm hitting the wrong button. Why am I doing that? Okay, so there you go. So there was one loop of the TAC that I managed to get right there. The other variation of the loop, of course, is the butter gun version, right? So I'm sure you've all seen this one before. That version, right? I have trouble with that version. I'm not gonna lie. That version is one of the hardest versions for me, and the reason why is because I'm really bad at keeping Magneto at the right height for the butter gun to connect, and then the L on the way down, you can hit it too early, you can hit it too late. There's like this weird timing in between that you have to get it consistently, and I just have a trouble with it. But the nice thing about it is it requires a little bit less height. It requires a little bit less height futzing around compared to the versions that I do off of Up Exchange. And you can definitely learn to do it pretty consistently. Just watch Neo matches. Neo is so good at this. He's so consistent at this. But again, you will see Neo while he's doing these combos that he's still adjusting the timing based on the height of the opponent. Like I said, I can't learn that one. That one is so hard for me. So I've learned just to do the other version, which is the beam version. But on an Up Exchange, it's much harder to set that one up. Much harder to set up that one. And the sequence that I've used is not a sequence I've seen anybody else use. But for some reason, it's just the most comfortable to me. That's the sequence that I do, and it's a weird one. It still is really kind of weird height-wise, but for some unknown reason, it's the one that I've been able to most consistently do, and I'm having trouble there right now. If you don't even want to do TAC infinites and you just want to do fun Marlin Pie combos too, I mean, those are obviously an option. What was it? It was flying there? I forgot what it was. God, I haven't done Marlin Pie, like the original Marlin Pie TAC, in so long that I forgot what it is now. Holy crap. What was the original Marlin Pie one? Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. That was the original one. That was the original Marlin Pie. Yeah, that was the original Marlin Pie one. Really, it's just about learning, memorizing what the buttons are. But even still, there's a lot of little tricky things here. Watch, let me show you one little tricky thing here. Let me snap in Virgil here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the timing. Oops. So right there, you need to get him to bounce on that beam a couple of times like that, right? So I got him to bounce on the beam twice. Perfect timing here. But if I pretty much do the exact same timing here on Magneto, you see that he didn't bounce twice. He fell out of it, right? So another thing that makes the Doom TAC combos a little tricky is that you actually have to learn different timings based on which character that you're fighting against. Because some characters just have different heights, different weights. Oops, what am I doing? I'm muscle memorying my way into infinite combos instead of the original Marlin Pie. So let's do this again. Oh, man. Whoops. Wow, really? Did I just do that? Oh my god. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is... why have I completely forgot what I'm supposed to do? Oops. Okay, see right there, I didn't maintain Magneto at the right height. Okay, so now I got him to bounce twice. And what I'm actually doing, and it's so hard to see, I wish I could, I wish there was a way that I could make you see it a little bit easier. What I actually do is I delay the MM just ever so slightly, because what happens is when you hit him with the first M, it bounces Magneto up slightly higher, and then the second M hits him and he's higher. Because Magneto's slightly heavier than Virgil, you want to bounce him as high as possible so when you do the light beam, he drops onto it right. A lot of the times, if you don't put that space in there, he falls in at just the wrong angle. So, yeah, sorry guys, I'm probably didn't explain this very well here, but I'm just hoping that, you know, if you are someone trying to learn Doom TACs and you're having trouble doing them, the main reason really comes down to is that there's so many tiny little factors involved in actually getting these things to work, and that is exactly what makes it so difficult. I'm not going to teach you what the sequence is here because there's plenty of videos out there. See right there, you saw the beam hit twice really early on, right? The beam hit twice, and so they didn't get to bounce, and that's because I didn't delay the MM. So let me see if I can delay the MM again. Whoops. Well, in any case, yeah, you gotta kind of learn how to space it out just a tiny bit, just to make sure that they're at the right height. There was the other one. What was the original one that he did? There was this one. I think this one might actually be a better example. Yeah, actually, this one's the best example right here. Okay, let me do it this one. Sorry guys, I'm totally messing up here. But on the up exchange, the original up exchange sequence here that Marlon Pai would do is this. Right? He would end up going foot dive up like that. I haven't done these variations in forever. Right there. So I want Magneto to bounce twice like that. So this is, yeah, okay, this is the perfect example here. If I do it too fast, you see how the beam hit like that? The beam hit twice. And so he doesn't actually get to bounce. I'll do it again. I'll do it too fast. The beam hit twice like that. So Magneto basically was too low, so he didn't bounce off the beam and get hit twice. So the whole secret to this is the weight. I don't know if you could see the timing difference. After the first M, it goes hits twice, and then I don't cancel it right away. I wait half a second, and then I do the second M. What that does is it pushes Magneto up higher because the 2 hits of the M keep bouncing him up. So watch. Boom, boom, boom. 2 hits. Wait a little bit, and now I can keep doing the TAC combo there. But if I do it too fast... Oh, it worked that time. And the reason why it worked is because I did this part too slow. And so this is what I mean. Every part of the Doom TAC combo affects every other part. It's like this weird kind of balancing act. It's literally like you're holding a really fragile vase and you're trying to keep it at the right heights and all this other stuff. And so if I do this part really slow, I can probably do it as fast as I want. So I'm going to do this first part super slow and hit the M's as fast as I want. Okay, see, then it didn't work there. But you can actually do this part so slow that I can do the M's as fast as I want and it'll bounce properly. But if I do the first part faster than what I just did, then, well, a lot of times it's not going to work. And again, this is all where the trickiness comes in there. I mean, because I can really mess around with timing. And there's just all sorts of different ways that you can put pauses and breaks in between it to get the combo to go. And really, on the fly, you are making these adjustments. So a lot of times if I hit him here, I can feel when that foot dive hits how low I am compared to Magneto. Because if I do it like this, I'm hitting him basically at the feet. So if I hit him at the feet, I know I'm kind of at a good height that I need to delay the second M, right? But if I do it, if I just happen to do this part of the combo, do you see that? Like, I'm hitting him with my chest. I'm hitting him, I've dropped so low below Magneto that I'm hitting him with my freaking chest like that. That means I'm significantly lower than Magneto, that I probably know that I don't need to delay the M anymore and it'll actually connect. But there are situations where I'll hit him like this, down here, and then I end up air dashing and doing air dashing LL so fast that I didn't let him bounce up high enough that he'll actually stay higher than me. So to drop him down a little bit, I can actually do LL, air dash, pause like half a second, and then LL, and put him at the right height. And just dive, yeah, exactly. And so again, I'm not going to teach you what the sequence is. What I want to teach you is all the little things that you have to be careful of while you're doing these Doom TACs. So even, for example, like the side TAC here, if you just want to do the standard one, you've got to make sure that you adjust all these timings. If you want to do the down one with the standard one, you know, you got to make sure that you're doing everything at the right time. This is actually why one of the easiest TACs is... Oops, I'm supposed to hit... what was it? One of the easiest TAC infinites is the short one. You'll see Noel Brown do the short one. Oops, not going to hit. Where's my M? Oops. Sorry, guys. I'm not doing it right. In any case, I'll do it my way. Alright, I don't want to sit here forever because David's waiting to do his show. I apologize. So, one of the easiest infinite sequences... what was the sequence? 1, 2, 2, 3. That's what it was. It was LMM. The reason why the sequence is so good is because there are no adjustment times in it. It just works if you do it as fast as possible. And that's what makes that sequence so good. Whoops, I did that wrong. So yeah, that's why that particular infinite is kind of popular among a lot of people, because you don't have to adjust any timing. It just works. You do everything as fast as you can, and everything just snaps into place for you. Unfortunately, you have to do more reps. The more reps you do, the higher chance you have to mess up. So a lot of the other versions are better because you get to do a lot more damage before you do that. So, okay, so before that's basically what I wanted to cover right there, was the hypergrav loop mostly, and mostly the TAC. But I had a few questions here. One about Hager that was on the chat. One about plink dashing. So I'll cover those really quick. And you can actually see I have this team already pre-programmed in here. These are the 3 main characters that I die to, so I make sure I practice my combos on them so I can make sure to blow them up a little bit more. So what I'm first going to cover is plink dashing here. So let's do Magneto plink dashing. The whole key to plink dashing is that you can hit the 2 buttons a little bit off and you'll still get the dash, right? Because they're just taking into account that you didn't hit the buttons at the exact same frame. So what plink dashing is actually doing is you're starting 1 frame of your normal move, and the very first frame is cancelable into a dash. Look at the commands at the bottom of the screen. You can see I'm not actually hitting the buttons at the same time. I'm hitting them about a frame apart, but the game is being nice enough that it's going to let me dash even though I hit them a frame apart. So the whole trick to plink dashing is that when you dash, you can cancel a dash into a normal move pretty much any time. Obviously, depending on the character, some characters can't do this. Majority can. Dash into fierce. Dash into fierce. I can cancel my dash into a fierce anytime. Right? So what you're actually doing is you're plinking the first dash, and then after you've dashed a significant, a decent distance, you're repeating it. What you're doing is you're canceling the dash into a fierce, but then canceling the fierce into a dash because you're plinking it. Like that. So that's why plink dashing works. You're canceling your dash into... Oops. You're canceling your dash into a fierce, but then in the first frame of that fierce, you're canceling it into a dash by plinking it. You're basically repeating this same sequence over and over and over again. The trickiest part about this, the reason why plink dashing is a little bit confusing, is because there's such a thing as doing it too fast. At the start of your dash, you can't fierce right away. I mean, you can't fierce right away. So what ends up happening is you plink dash a little too fast. I guess you can do it pretty fast. Certain characters can't do it right away, but Magneto can, so he happens to be able to do it super fast. But if you can learn the timing of the plink dash, that's what you'll get. That you'll just basically cancel your dash into more fierces into dash. Now, the Chris Schmidt technique, which is mapping 1 button to all 3 buttons here, I don't know why this makes it super easy to do. Because again, I'm going to try to do it without that, okay? I'm going to do it the other way. And you can see that every once in a while, I can get it pretty consistently, but I mess up a lot for some strange reason. I haven't sat down and thought about it very carefully yet, but I don't know why this Chris Schmidt method is so much easier. That if you plink with the three attack buttons instead. So basically, I'm plinking H into the 3 attack buttons, and once I do that, it's like you can see I'm like 90% way more consistent. That I only mess up like maybe 1 out of every 10 attempts to plink dash. It works. and I don't know why it works, but it definitely makes plink dashing a lot easier. So I've actually learned to make sure to plink dash that way. That's the only way I plink dash, or I wave dash, you know, standard wave dash, you know, which is that, right? So that's basically how you plink dash. I don't know if that actually answers your question. Let me know, please, if you want some more stuff. The other question that I got was, how do you actually cancel low kick into, you know, the let's see, let me see if I can even do this. Into this, what's the command for that super? Oh, there it is, uppercut. Yeah. So basically, how do you do this properly, right? He's having trouble doing this. Who's the one that's talking about this? Basically, what you've learned, what you know is that you can chain into this almost immediately, right? So once you start going into towards H, just keep holding H on the controller, and then immediately just go into uppercut super. And there is a timing that you can do it too early. So if you see this, I'm doing it as fast as I can, and it's not coming out. So you do have to wait just a little bit before you can actually cancel into it. And that's generally how you're going to get the situation. The reason why you're not seeing it combo right now, and you can see it combo some other times, watch Virgil when I sweep him right there. He hits the ground and he falls right away, right? Notice that if I try to do this sequence here, I can't. But for some unknown reason, if I hit him early enough, notice how when I sweep him here, watch Virgil's legs. They're like flat the entire time when they hit. But when I actually get him off of this, look at his legs. Do you see his whole legs like flip all the way back? This is a different landing animation. So if you hit him early enough in an OTG situation, there's actually two different animations. You see the big giant long back flipping legs right there? So if I hit him there, he flips all the way back. If I wait a little bit longer and then hit him with it, oh, I guess in this situation it's always that way. But now if I do this, I can get that in there, right? So it's always going to be way easier in this situation to get it to combo, because he just recovers a lot slower. So yeah, so that's basically, I mean, that's the best I can give for advice on how to do this to the best of my ability. It's really just don't do it too early, and use the towards H as part of the uppercut command, you know, to make it a lot easier for you, so you're not trying to do the towards H and then an uppercut command. That's the easiest way I can suggest it. Team Super, you can cancel it almost immediately, which is why the Team Super version you can actually get on this situation. Even if I didn't have my friends behind me, because you can cancel it way earlier. I don't know why doing it that way you have to wait a little bit to do it, but that's just the way it works. So air plink dashing is the exact same thing on the ground, except there's actually a secret to air plink dashing, is that in that you don't need to air plink dash. You never ever need to air plink dash. As long as you air dash in a different direction. Actually, I don't even think that's true, is it? Yeah, it is. As long as you air dash in a different direction than you just air dashed in, you can just do it by hitting two buttons like that. As long as you always air dash in a different direction. So I can go up, for example, I can go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I can do left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. What you see everyone do. That's why you see everyone do that wave pattern when they run away, because they can't do it by going straight back very easily. So instead they do this wave pattern to make sure that they're air dashing in a different direction every single time. If you do use plink dashing in the sky, however, you can do it in the same direction every single time. So there is an advantage to plink dashing during flight, but in general it's not going to come as handy, because you can just air dash in different directions which will accomplish you pretty much the same goal. Any last questions? I'm just going to go ahead and stop right now, because I want to let David jump in here, and I am hungry. So, yeah, a lot of people want to see David. Don't blame them. David is a handsome man, so we'll bring him in there. Guys, if you want to have some more Execution Corner stuff, send me emails at ultrachentv@gmail.com with the subject line Ask jchensor. Guilty Gear is out now. I've had some people ask me Guilty Gear questions. I'm eager to help out with that game as much as possible, even though I probably can't do half the things in Guilty Gear, but I think it'll be super fun to learn a lot of it. Marvel stuff, KOF stuff. I haven't done any KOF stuff, although people have asked me. I've gotten about 2 or 3 KOF questions. I don't consider myself an expert at that game, so it's hard for me to teach it, but I will definitely try. I will try to do an episode with KOF. I wanted to do some Guilty Gear stuff today. Out of time. I'm going to let David come in here. So, guys, send me an email. Peace out, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Stick around for some Level 3 focus. Bye.